Warning, the following show features stunts performed either by professionals or under the supervision of professionals. Accordingly, Green Kitchingman must insist that no one attempt to recreate or reenact any stunt or activity performed on this show. In the early 2000s, Bam Margera rose to fame as a skateboarder, reckless stunt performer,
Why you're doing things like this? Why are you wasting your breath? Oh!
and reality TV star.
What will he do next?
Whatever the f I want.
He would also make his claim as an artist,
All right, you're an artist now, right?
Well, I don't really claim that, but people want them.
recording artist, producer, radio host, and director. Yeah, events in equal measure. In this video, we'll explore whether Bam's fall from grace was due to these unfortunate events, or rather, due to reckless choices and a failure to accept accountability. This is the rollercoaster life of Bam Margera.
There's some saying like the age you become famous is like the age you stay at forever, and no one's gonna call you out, you know? Like, there's no one telling you no.
Brendan Cole Margera was born on September 28, 1979 in Westchester, Pennsylvania, to mother April, a hairdresser, and father Phil, a baker.
You don't have it, do you?
What's that?
Health insurance?
I have it from
From being at the bakery?
Yeah.
See, Phil's a baker, so he gets...
An article in Philadelphia magazine read, April Margera used to be a hairdresser. In 27 years, she only missed 3 days of work. She enjoyed her job. Her husband, Phil, was a baker at the Westchester Acme. These occupations placed the Margera family in the middle class of the area, and they lived comfortably. Most people knew Brandon as Bam, a nickname which was bestowed upon him, inadvertently, by his grandfather. He had originally called Brandon Bam Bam at the age of 3 after noticing that he would consistently and purposefully run into walls.
My father-in-law, he started calling Bam Bam Bam. I mean, he kind of looked like him because he was very square-shouldered, you know, with the curly hair, and, you know, I think for a while he was dragging a bat around.
Bam retells the story. I got the name Bam from my grandpa. I was like 3 or something, just running into walls being an idiot, and it was just like, Bam, 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 chill out, Bam, Bam. So it was Bam Bam forever, and then when I reached 5th grade, everyone called me Bam, even my teachers and shit. Bam's love of both danger and risk-taking led him to pursue skateboarding at a very early age. Bam showed natural talent, honing his skills on the streets within his hometown of Westchester. Despite being well loved and treated like gold by Phil and April, or Ape as she was fondly called, Bam got away with anything and everything. He acted like the quintessential only child, despite having an older brother, Jess. Bam's talent was obvious early, as Jess described him as a natural talent. And this was objectively correct, as Bam would become sponsored in 1992 at the age of just 13. His sponsor, Fairman Skate Shop, wasn't really providing him that much.
First sponsor was Fairman's. I was about 13. Well, when we rode for him, I think we were allowed like 2 skate decks a month, and then maybe some wheels.
But he would feature on their skate compilations on a regular basis. To a young kid with a big dream, this would have been massive. In school, Bam was most definitely not a model student, but his best mate Chris Raab was objectively more of a pain in the ass. Raab would continuously get himself into trouble. On one occasion, when told to catch up on a health class test in a separate room, Raab would become so bored that he would first urinate on his desk before laying a big fat dookie on numerous lockers.
You were the only reason why I went to school. As soon as you got kicked out for on a locker, I quit.
Sorry to segue away from the documentary, but is anyone else getting Mr. Mackey vibes?
Now who made Dookie in the urinal? Oh, you think it's funny, huh? Okay.
Despite being heavily encouraged to do this by Bam, this resulted in Raab's expulsion, and Bam no longer had a reason to be at school in his mind. And apparently this is, quote, still the biggest talk of East High School. This of course resulted in Bam dropping out, being homeschooled, and selecting digital media as a class elective. Bam got his first video camera from his father in 1993 after he enrolled in this class. It would be in this class where he and Raab met future colleagues, if you can call them that, Art Webb, Brandon D. Camillo, and Ryan Dunn. the latter of which would take Rab's spot as bestie, as Ryan and Bam would become inseparable. With the boys now having a lot of free time on their hands, they would then focus on content creation, the crux of which was Bam skateboarding. In 1994, Bam dropped out of high school completely to pursue a full-time skateboarding career. Phil owned and was obsessed with the camcorder camera.
Oh yeah, the VHS, a big one, got heavy after a while.
And would dedicate his time driving Bam around to all of his competitions, recording them, as well as every practice session.
You'd film everything, bales and all, and then we'd get home and just watch it all.
Bam and Phil would then sit at home and edit these videos, record the next one, and rinse and repeat. Soon after dropping out, Bam would gain sponsorship from Toy Machine skateboards, Speed metal bearings, Addio footwear, electric sunglasses, Volcom, Lens Speed wheels, Destroyer trucks, and Destructo trucks. Tragically, the following year, on September 21st, 1995, Bam and his friends would have a near-death experience. Ryan would pick up Jess, Bam and Rab and begin driving recklessly, being distracted by the amount of noise in the car. Dunn had reached a speed of 100 miles per hour and subsequently flipped the vehicle no less than 8 times, landing in the lane of oncoming traffic.
So we're driving there and Rab's screaming in the back, just chaos. We got whoever playing on the radio just cranked. Having the time of my life, and I'm speeding because I'm a punk kid.
He's driving like 110 miles an hour to the point where Rab grabs my seatbelt and buckles me in. 10 seconds later, we flipped 8 times in oncoming traffic.
Luckily, Rab had forced Bam to wear a seatbelt, and Bam reluctantly listened. Given that Bam smashed the window next to him with his head, Rab and this decision to listen likely saved his life. Jess was also completely thrown from the vehicle as it was flipping, so this would have been a very scary and traumatic experience for Ape. Despite the fact that the boys got out of this more or less unscathed, this would be foreboding for a tragedy that would happen in the future.
You know, they were in a bad car accident in
95 was the car.
That's right, 95 was the car accident. And I yelled at him every day, told him to stop driving so fast.
Bam was now interspersing himself in other brand skate tapes, excelling in competition, and most importantly, being that kid who would try any trick and take any risk to build a name for himself. And this allowed him to do exactly that, not only resulting in further sponsors, but also building him a strong and positive reputation amongst other professionals, including Mike Maldonado and Kerry Getz. Bam would also become familiar with Brandon Novak, who would frequent the same parks and competitions, and the boys would become fierce rivals as they would continuously take it in turns, placing higher than one another.
One year Bam did better than Novak, then the next year Novak did better than Bam, and then Bam did better. So a little bit of love-hate there.
Bam and Novak were of similar age and skill in the early years, but Novak would start to notice the gap widening as Bam continued to elevate as a skater.
All of a sudden, we saw this kid popping humongous ollies and just had all this energy. And I'm like, oh, I've just met my match.
And Bam was hungry for the next challenge. In 1999, Bam and his friends formed the CKY crew, taking the name from the band Jess played drums for. Yes, we all know that this stands for Camp Redacted. I'm not going to say it because I don't want the YouTube lords hearing me. The boys would record and release a series of skates. They didn't have a reach outside of this small circle. It's worth including that despite still being somewhat popular, even when Bam was still in school, skateboarding's popularity was certainly dwindling, as pointed out by Bam's principal at the time. But I digress. Due to being young degenerates, a word I'm sure even Bam himself would be fine with me using, Bam and the CKY crew would also later record prank and stunt videos, which Bam would then intersperse with the skate footage. Bam realised that, unlike in the past where only fellow skaters would be keen to view his footage, kids in the neighbourhood who weren't skaters themselves were now keen to come around and watch the videos. They would now put up with the skate footage with the expectation that they would see Bam jump off the roof or Rab get woken up with a face full of flour. This directly led Bam to create his first official CKY film, which was titled As Presented by Land Speed Wheels and released on March 1st, 1999.
You got balls of fake steel and you ain't taking shit from nobody. No shit from nobody? That. No, you ain't taking shit.
This film was met with notable success and became somewhat of a cult classic, completely by word of mouth. Bam was stoked. However, he later found out that the owner of CKY's distributor, Tom Yetto Inc., allegedly ripped him off immensely, the degree of which is still unknown. However, upon researching the numbers behind the film's sales, we can imagine the scale. Some good did come of this though, as this was a wake-up call to Bam. He decided to cut ties with Tumieto and had the second CKY film distributed by Ventura Distribution, and CKY 2K was released on the 22nd of May 2000. Again, Bam was shocked when he saw the number of sales and subsequently the amount of money flowing into his bank account. This second film, which was more polished than the first, featured better skating and more entertaining stunts and hilarious pranks.
There's not even a dent.
Brand new car.
It's a 96.
You guys. What's your name? What's your name?
Why do you want my name?
Although CKY 2K's music catalogue most predominantly featured music from CKY themselves, Bam also included copyrighted songs from recording artists such as Rammstein. This of course pissed off a lot of legal representatives, which Bam didn't give a toss about. According to Bam, he was poor anyway, so if they sued him, it would be for peanuts.
Is that a common problem for you, that people are just always trying to sue you now that you're famous and rich?
When I made CKY 1 and 2, I was pretty much broke as a joke. Like, somebody's like, you might get sued. What am I gonna lose? My 89 Buick Regal that my aunt gave me for free? Go ahead and have it.
Bam would go on to release a total of 4 CKY videos, which sold over 400,000 units by the time this interview with Eric Blair was recorded in 2002.
Now the sales for the CKY must be awesome now since the Jackass show.
Yeah, 400,000 units, or over 400,000 copies. So.
These two final films, CKY 3 and CKY 4, the latest and greatest, were released in 2001 and 2002 respectively. By this time, Bam was a huge name in the industry, and he had started to diversify outside of skating. For example, by the end of 2002, Bam had featured on 2 of the widely successful Tony Hawk's Pro Skater video games, being 3 and 4. He would also later feature in Underground and Underground 2, even having his own team in the latter.
No biggie, man. Our team is solid now.
Which demonstrated his current status and further propelled him into superstardom. The CKY videos caught the attention of Jeff Tremaine, an editor of Big Brother magazine, and a film titled Shit, which was released in 1996. In the process of making the second Shit film, titled Number 2, Jeff joined forces with an up-and-coming stuntman, Johnny Knoxville.
Hit me.
The pair flew Margera to Los Angeles to meet with them after recognizing his success, and Bam showed them segments of CKY 2K, and they loved it.
I got a call from Jeff Tremaine. I drove over to his house, and that's where I met Johnny Knoxville, and we watched CKY 2K together. Tremaine said, do you mind if I use some of these clips for a pilot that I want to do called Jackass on MTV? And I said, hell yeah, go for it.
They decided to string together a pilot by stitching together footage from both parties and pitched the result to several networks. Saturday Night Live made an offer to have the crew be a recurring segment on the show, and the offer was rejected. Jeff must have known that they deserved better, and many companies agreed. A bidding war erupted between Comedy Central, FX, and MTV, with the latter being successful. MTV were only locking them in for a half-hour weekly show, allowing for greater creative control.
I need some help, man. What kind of help you need? I need a hacksaw. You need a hacksaw? Yeah.
Jackass officially debuted on October 1st, 2000. After the second episode aired, MTV gained its highest Sunday ratings in its history, drawing 2.5 million viewers among 12 to 34-year-olds. This was of importance, as this age bracket was the show's target demographic. Bam's outrageous stunts and comedic timing made him a fan favourite, and he quickly became one of the breakout stars of the show.
People are gonna turn on MTV and they're gonna see some girl with Ricky Martin having a good old time. I'm the diehard Ricky Martin fan. I'm the one who should have been on that show.
Yeah, but what would you do for Ricky Martin?
However, putting themselves and their bodies under so much abuse also led to the use of painkillers, with most of the stars becoming either reliant or outright abusing these, or worse. In 2001, Bam became a member of Team Element, the demo team for Element skateboards, which he remained affiliated with for the rest of his professional career. And he was also banking around $4,000 per episode from Jackass. However, this income stream was about to dry up. After backlash sprouting from several sources continued to build, the cast and crew became fed up with MTV imposing more and more notes or restrictions. Knoxville walked, and the show was eventually cancelled.
And it's like, I don't want to do the show, a watered down version of the show. So I gave an interview to my hometown newspaper and said I quit. MTV said, you what?
Yeah.
Because we were still under contract.
Yeah.
These impositions from MTV were mostly due to individuals carelessly attempting stunts they had seen on the TV show, then trying to sue MTV, believing they were put up to it. Regardless, as we all know, the story does not end there. The success of Jackass allowed the creators to be greenlit for the recording and eventual release of the first Jackass film, which was so in 2002, being met with monumental success. The film would be later released under an R rating, which allowed the creators to do whatever they wanted. Well, basically. This time though, a verbal disclaimer would be read to audiences at the start of the film to restrict their liability for future incidences involving the public.
Warning. The stunts in this movie were performed by professionals, so for your safety and the protection of those around you, do not attempt any of the stunts you're about to see.
Bam himself made around $5 million from this movie, but wanted to stretch his creative wings. As such, he co-wrote, directed, and starred in Haggard, which was released in 2003. This was an independent film based on the real events in the life of his friend, Ryan Dunn. Despite the movie not really being a financial success, it allowed Bam to be creatively satiated for a while.
Got the new Knockhill CD?
They have the ultimate band, and if you say one more thing, I'll pull your f***ing face off.
Oh yeah? Well, I think they f***ing suck. Woo-de-doo-doo.
Dunn played himself as the main character, while Margera played Vallo, a character based on himself and elements of hymn singer and friend Villa Vallo. Actually, the term friend doesn't really describe what Vallo was to Bam. He was more like a hero to Bam, a god. I know me just saying that probably makes you cringe a little bit, however, it's a fairly true representation of how Bam saw him. As a result, Bam became infatuated with the rock star lifestyle, which unfortunately included drinking. Bam has indicated in the past that he hadn't really consumed alcohol prior to his 21st birthday, but Vallo normalized day drinking to Bam, which he originally thought was weird. Bam would then grow accustomed to drinking, both during the day and consuming a lot of it. More on this later.
It's just sad to see that he's turning into the monster that he's turning into. I think I can understand some of it, but it needs to stop. He's got a beautiful family, both his own and then his parents and his brother and all that stuff, and he's got a lot of people that care about him. So I'm hoping that he can, take a break from all the extracurricular activities and concentrate on the essential.
In 2003, Bam got his own TV show, Viva La Bam, which was a spin-off from MTV's Jackass. This show followed Bam and his friends as they embarked on wild adventures and pulled off outrageous pranks.
Yeah, come and get it. Yo, where you put my luggage? Gotta deliver to your room. I'll deliver my luggage. I gotta do my man. Then I got hot sauce in there, tight broke.
For me personally, this was a show that made me a massive fan of Bam. Even though he would still act like a little shit most of the time, he would also show glimpses of how he felt about those he cared about. Kind of like this interaction with Abe.
Hey. Wow. Shut up. Stop. Oh, you look Come here. I'm like, stop talking.
Look at those things on his shirt.
The show also featured other fan favourites, Don Vito and Dico, who both had hilarious clips such as these.
I'll get my car and leave it, man.
Vito, take a look at your car.
Where?
Look out, don't look.
It wasn't me. I'm tired of getting new cars, man. I'm taking her home.
Sushi fish go, cool, sushi. Lunch special, $8.99, kids eat free.
Which, granted, don't really hold up too well today. It was clear that Bam and the crew really enjoyed filming Viva La Bam, at least in the early seasons.
Boy, that's an ugly suit you're wearing.
This might have been aided by the fact that Bam had a seemingly unlimited budget for the show. He was usually told by MTV that his ideas were not insane enough, if you can believe that, as I'm showing this Civil War reenactment. Bam had a budget of around $300,000 per episode, with which he could do whatever he wanted. Usually, he wouldn't spend anywhere near this much. Regardless, the show's success cemented Bam's status as a cultural icon. But fame came with its own set of challenges. Due to fulfilling his requirements with both Jackass, the last episode of Viva La Bam would feature in 2006.
Shut up. I don't know why he has a British accent.
As Bam would focus on filming the upcoming Jackass 2. As I'm sure everyone watching is aware, the immediate success of both the shows and now the movie resulted in 5 further Jackass films to be released. These included Jackass 2 in 2006, Jackass 2.5 in 2007, Jackass 3D in 2010, Jackass 3.5 in 2011, and Jackass Forever in 2022. In 2006, it was alleged that Bam's uncle, Don Vito, who had featured in many episodes of Viva La Bam, had touched 3 separate minors inappropriately. At his trial the following year, he was found guilty, being registered as a sex offender. This broke Bam, as he spoke out publicly on the matter on Radio Bam, despite being discouraged from doing so by the lawyers.
Sorry, people, I'm too pissed off to do a show today. Let me just say this, f*** America and all you f***ers living in it, and let me just sum up about something that I'm not allowed to talk about because of the lawyers. Well, guess what, lady? Vito doesn't have any f***ing money. He has a red Ford Ranger, and that's it. And the 75 grand that MTV gave him, he's spending on a f***ing lawyer to defend himself. I think it's that he has to spend the last few days of his miserable life flying back and forth to Colorado to defend himself about some piece of f***ing bullshit f***ing case with that you know that you're trying to get money. That's it. That's the only thing. Tom, just play me some old hymn, not that new radio-friendly f***ing shit. I'm packing my shit and I'm moving to Kazakhstan just to get away from this f***ed up country, dude.
This, in conjunction with a messy breakup with his then-girlfriend Jen, arguably resulted in the darkest days Bam had faced thus far. However, Bam would reach out to a woman he had first met in high school, named Missy.
How'd you get involved with a misfit like Bam?
We actually met in middle school.
They would start dating in 2006, and Bam would propose soon thereafter.
That hit me so hard!
With their wedding preparations being shared intimately in another spin-off show called Bam's Unholy Union. The show culminated with them being married on February 3rd, 2007, in front of 350 family and friends. After paying an unholy amount, see what I did there, to cover the damages to the venue, the newlyweds would honeymoon in Dubai. Bam wrote, directed and starred in 2 of his own films. Where the F*** is Santa, released in 2008, receiving 5.3 stars on IMDb, and Ming Hags, which was released in 2009, receiving 5.1 stars.
What's he doing here?
I don't know, but we better get to the bottom of things before she does.
Should we go over there?
Yeah, we better.
However, Bam's wild lifestyle and partying took a toll on his mental health and relationships. In 2009, he was hospitalized in a suspected overdose, claiming that him binging was the result of marital issues between himself and Missy. Bam would also state that, "I may get a divorce, booze helps." In 2010, the couple separated, and in the same year, Bam was struck in the head with a baseball bat by a random woman. She claimed that Bam had called her the N-word, which Bam denied. In the same year, Bam entered rehab. He detailed this in an episode of Radio Bam, describing his first admission into a treatment facility.
Hi, my name is Bam and I'm an alcoholic. Hey Bam. Chad, I just got out of fucking rehab.
Yeah?
Yeah, in Weathersville, Pennsylvania, right outside of Reading. I don't know, it's right by Gina Lynn's house. Well, the thing is, I go on these benders, like 3-day benders, and then
John Benders.
and then I'm sober for like 4 to 5 days, and then I'll go on a 3-day bender again.
Well, 45 days sober sounds
But
good.
like on the 5th day sober is when Missy, Ape, and Phil and a few of my friends decided to have an intervention on me.
Bam insisted that he did not have a drinking problem and could function despite his substance misuse. Although he was supposed to go to rehab for a month, he ended up leaving the clinic after just 4 days.
Jess and Ryan Dunn talked me into just going downstairs and just hearing everybody out. And I was supposed to go into rehab for 30 days, but I agreed to the 5-day program, which is like a detox kind of program, and I did it. And well, I kind of didn't do it because I just left on the 4th day. Yeah.
However, this had a profoundly small impact on Bam in comparison to what would soon occur. In 2011, Bam suffered a devastating loss with the death of his best friend and Jackass co-star Ryan Dunn in a car accident.
Jackass cast member Ryan Dunn has died. Police say Dunn and a passenger in his 2007 Porsche died early Monday. Officials said the vehicle went off the road. It was found in the woods fully engulfed in flames. Authorities say speed may have been a factor in the wreck in suburban Philadelphia.
In footage recorded after the incident, Bam can be seen almost collapsing from grief. And in an interview following the tragedy, Margera was obviously and visually distraught, crying inconsolably as he grieved the loss of his best friend.
I've never lost anybody that I care about. It's my best friend. It's just not right. It's not right.
April, Bam and Glom had hauntingly predicted Dunn's passing in such a manner years prior.
Oh yeah, sure, he learned his lesson. He'll never learn his lesson. He always drives like an asshole.
Too true.
I'm serious.
He's the worst driver,
He's
too.
a grandstander. I'll tell you, he's gonna eat it someday in a car accident.
He already has plenty of time.
I know, but I mean, like, that's his thing. It's
No,
like,
duh. He's gonna eat it one of these times. He's wrecked 6 of other people's cars and 3 of his own.
I have
him in the death pool
I know
for
that.
death by vehicle.
Yeah, he's a vehicle guy.
You don't have any?
I always said to Ryan, dude, you're gonna die in a car crash. If you don't slow down, you drive like a freaking maniac. He said, you forgot one thing, Abe. Fiery car crash.
Additionally, although he and Bam weren't close, I would be remiss not to mention that Zachary Hartwell also passed away in this accident. As a direct result of his best friend's passing, Bam became dependent on both alcohol and drugs. The loss of Dunn had sent Bam into a downward spiral, and he struggled to cope with his grief. Bam would then have a very public back and forth with critic Roger Ebert, who would make very cold comments about the passing of his best friend. The public's reception of Ebert's comments was mixed, but it was met very negatively by Bam. Ebert would eventually admit via Twitter that he was, quote, probably too quick to tweet, later stating that it was not intended as cruel, it was intended as true. Unfortunately, his substance abuse worsened after a period of recovery. On October 5th, 2013, Bam would marry again, this time to Nicole Boyd in Iceland.
I hereby announce you as legally married man, wife.
In the years that followed, Bam sought treatment for his addiction and mental health issues, undergoing rehab and therapy. With the support of his family and friends, Bam started to rebuild his life and focus on his health and well-being. In 2014, Bam starred in Bam's Badass Game Show, which ran for just 1 season.
Welcome to Bam's Badass Game Show.
This is because this show bombed in both the ratings and reviews, as the stunts performed by the guests, not Bam, were kind of lackluster.
Dad? Oh, man.
Additionally, you can see the disdain on Bam's face the whole time, which didn't help.
All right, Greg, congratulations, fastest time, and you win the Chinatown prize package. What's up? Now we're gonna figure out a way to wreck you guys some more. You ready, Tim? Bring it. Come on.
In 2015, Bam entered rehab for the second time after being knocked out in Iceland by a group of rappers, the Glacier Mafia.
Hey, stop! Come on.
However, as with his first stint in rehab, he reportedly did not complete the program.
If you would have told me I would have had a drunk and son at any point, I would have probably never believed you.
Accordingly, his mum, April, sought help for her son, which somehow resulted in them appearing on Family Therapy with Dr. Jen.
I felt lost and hopeless, like I'm doomed. You know what I mean?
As they fight to survive.
My biggest fear is that he'll die.
Bam would feature on the first and 6th episode of the first season, in which he would discuss his issues.
I don't know. Not like I was going to do it or anything, but I was like, just send me in that pool and make sure I don't come back up.
Stating, quote, it just seems like everything at one point came crashing down. That's when it wasn't even drinking for the fun or social part of it. It was just drinking because total depression, kinda. Despite being quite incomprehensible, Bam's time on the show proved successful. In 2016, he revealed that he had been sober for 3 months, thanks to Dr. Jen. However, come August, it seemed apparent that he had started drinking again, after yet another disagreement with Nikki. In an interview with Vice in 2017, he discussed his issues with substance abuse, and revealed that he also suffered from bulimia, an issue which Tony Hawk himself raised with Bam prior to this, and Bam shrugged off. Bam would feature in Vice's Epically Lated, which was fittingly titled Jackass, Skating and the Dark Side of Fame. This was a great video, yet it was a stark reminder of Bam's fall from grace. Positive news would follow at the end of 2017, however, as their son Phoenix Margera was born on the 23rd of December. But the good news would be stunted by January 2018, as Bam's mental health was on the decline again. After a period of sobriety, he was arrested for a DUI and sentenced to 3 years probation. Sadly, after completing 7 months in rehab, Margera began acting inappropriately in public. Prior to a show in March of 2019, he was filmed yelling at and possibly even striking his manager. Bam was apparently upset that the venue was empty, not comprehending that the audience was not required to pile in for another hour.
I told you that. We came early because you... There's 50 people sold tonight. Take me home! All right, we'll go home. Now! Pussy, I'm leaving. Take me home now for a second. I'm going now. Going. Damn, I don't know. I'm going. Okay, all right. Man, take me home.
The show was cancelled following the incident, and fans were once again discouraged by his behaviour. In August 2019, Bam uploaded a rant on his Instagram page in which he described his new vampire language.
A, B, C. And then we don't know mine because you think I'm crazy. Well, if everything is that way of English and everything's that way of Strigoi, it's gonna look like scribble eventually. It's gonna look like scribble scrabble, because the more you master the language, the more you can tell what you're writing by the shapes. A, B, C, D, E, F, B, cause D, E, F, G. Good. Good. Good.
This led his friends and followers to assume that he was abusing Adderall. Bam's popularity and public image were damaged yet again when he was escorted off a flight in the same month. He began yelling at airline staff after being told he was far too drunk to fly. He declared that he had consumed 50 tequila shots, although later he stated that he was lying.
You think anybody can do 50 shots of tequila? You idiot.
Come outside, let's talk to you. Now the police are Yes, swear to God.
Shortly after, Bam appeared on Dr. Phil after pleading with the good doctor to feature him on an episode.
Dr. Phil, I need your help in a big, big way. My family is in shambles. It's been worse than it's ever been.
I'm amazed that I try for your help and Dr. Phil's team is here. I'm like, how did they find me?
When I see a young man that's in trouble and asking for help, my ears prick up.
Bam and Dr. Phil discussed this outburst as well as Bam's clear drinking problem.
You were kicked off a flight. Does that seem like a reasonable conversation to be having? You calling him an idiot and a moron?
Although he acknowledged that his actions were unacceptable and unjustified, it also seemed as though he refused to take accountability. There was good news in his future though, as there was another Jackass film on the horizon. In agreeing to do the final Jackass film, Jackass Forever, Bam promised both Knoxville and Tremaine that he would stay sober. To ensure this, they asked Bam to sign a wellness agreement, which legally binded Bam to his promise. In May 2021, it was revealed that Bam had been fired after apparently breaching his contract, testing positive for Adderall. Bam stated that during a road trip, he found one rattling around in his car, so he took it to concentrate. Even though this medication had been prescribed, it also breached the wellness agreement. Bam said, quote, "I became dependent on Adderall and pain medications to maintain the focus needed to satisfy the production schedule and to manage the pain associated with the injuries I suffered performing the stunts in those productions."
It's funny because when Jackass 4 was happening, I signed a contract that they wanted me off alcohol and Adderall, which I've been prescribed to for 13 years. And if I stop taking the medication, then I don't get the $5 million for the movie that I usually get. So when I stopped taking it, they're like, you stopped taking your medication, you broke your contract. Yeah, what's the point of getting $5 million if I'm dead?
Yeah.
After Bam posted an angry video rant in which he drunkenly called out the staff of Jackass for supposedly betraying him.
Who the cares if I'm drunk as hell or not anymore? Jackass has put me through fucking hell on wheels for a year and a half. I wrote them so many ideas, and if I'm not in the movie and they use my ideas, how do you think that that'll make me feel? The last thing I want to do is be in a courtroom with Jeff and Tremaine. I love him. What the heck, man? I'm not in Jackass 4.
Jackass was everything to me. And now I'm so relieved that you Knoxville. You Spike. You Jeff. You never cared about me, man.
Steve-O wrote back on Instagram, "Everyone bent over backwards to get you in the movie, and all you had to do was not get loaded. You've continued to get loaded. It's that simple." Margera said that he was coerced into signing a wellness agreement the day after leaving rehab, and that if he didn't, he would be excluded from Jackass forever. This led Bam to file a lawsuit, going on a social media tirade against Knoxville and Tremaine. Following the lawsuit, Tremaine was granted a 3-year restraining order against Bam, after he allegedly threatened his life and to harm his family. Bam's marriage became highly strained in the summer of 2021. In a bizarre video posted to his Instagram account, Margera directed a furious outburst at his wife. In July 2022, TMZ reported that Bam had escaped yet another rehab center. In this disturbing video, Bam is shown passed out on the bed, with 2 men sitting either side of him, and a third shirtless man standing over him. The video description states that police and family members were desperately trying to find him when this occurred.
What up, cuz? Let's go. Let's go. We're gonna take it to get some in your face, bro. Let's start serious,
Subsequently, Boyd filed for sole custody of Phoenix and requested that Margera be granted visitation rights under supervision. Soon after, she filed for separation from Bam, citing an incident in which drunken Bam behaved inappropriately in front of Phoenix during a visit. Bam reportedly filed to dismiss Nicole's request for legal separation, claiming that they were never married in the first place. Regardless, their separation was finalised as of September 2021. In December 2022, Bam would unfortunately have 4 seizures after suffering from. Each seizure lasted 10 to 20 minutes, and in the last one, he bit his tongue so hard that he almost bit it off, narrowly avoiding passing away. The injury resulted in Bam's blood becoming infected, which then led to pneumonia. When Bam's shaman, Naveed, was taking him to the hospital, Bam would suffer from a 5th seizure, and Bam was placed on a ventilator to allow him to breathe.
Well, rock and roll, we have a lot to talk about because I basically was pronounced on Elvis's birthday, December 8th. Did not know that I had like gnarly, my body was shutting down, and I went into 4 seizures, and each one lasting 10 to 20 minutes. And on the 4th one, I bit my tongue so hard, it was like nearly falling off. It got so swollen and puffy it wouldn't fit in my mouth, and I was drinking the infected blood, which gave me pneumonia as well. So when Naveed, the shaman, took me to the hospital, I went in my 5th seizure, and I couldn't breathe without a tube down my throat.
Bam was actually pronounced deceased at one point, but was successfully resuscitated. In February 2023, Nicole filed for divorce in Los Angeles, citing irreconcilable differences as the reason for the split. She also reportedly asked the court for spousal support at the time. It was revealed that Boyd filed the paperwork because she had concerns about Bam's behaviour around their now 5-year-old son. Bam also reflected on the time where he smashed a mirror in frustration in front of Phoenix, which Nicole understandably despised.
Yeah, well, the thing that I'll always hear about, and she'll never let it go, is that when we got into this argument, which was basically about nothing, went on for 3 hours. Nikki, it would mean a lot to Danny Way if you come to his going away party because he's moving to Hawaii for good. Well, I'd love to go. All right, cool, well, let's go. Well, I'm not going to let Phoenix sleep on some cold wooden ass floor. All right, well, then don't go. Well, I'd love to go. I did this for 3 hours till I punched out a mirror in front of Phoenix at the age of 3.5 or some shit and stormed off and went to the party without her. So because of that, that's when she was like, I'm filing for custody and blah, 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 blah.
I think that if we were to be, like, fair...
Steve-O would later post this comment to Bam, stating that he was dying. Here's the backstory. Bam would be invited to take part in Steve-O's comedy tour later this month. In these 9 shows over 10 days, Bam would open for Steve-O and did fantastic. Accordingly, Bam asked Steve-O to organise a visit from Phoenix on the last day of the show. Steve-O was able to do this as the show was very close to where Nikki and Phoenix were living at the time. Bam not only crushed his open, but Phoenix joined him on stage, and this was super touching for all involved. This was so much the case that Nikki actually organised regular visits for Bam, only for him to get drunk days later after the tour had concluded, posting more hateful comments about Knoxville and Tremaine. This disappointed Steve-O, but he also noted that he was not surprised.
And so it was just bugging me, man. It was bugging me all day. And his hateful post had been up for 22 hours. And I was just like, it's just like, so I go and write this comment on there. Like, it's saying like largely what I just said now. But, and I wrote it and I was like, dude, you're dying, bro. Like, you're dying. And it just sucks because like, I want to like save you, but I can't do that.
In March, Bam was arrested for domestic after allegedly kicking his girlfriend. Just to clarify, not his estranged wife Nikki, but his girlfriend. This, of course, requires clarification, as the individual that called it in stated that her husband kicked her. However, the charges were dismissed due to lack of evidence. Bam and Nikki would have a public disagreement of their own, as Bam confronted Nikki at a diner later that day, stating that Phoenix had his own mind.
Wrong. He's wrong. Phoenix has his own mind. I want to see Daddy now. Well, Phoenix, maybe we should be fighting. No, but I want to see Daddy now. You're making up his own mind. Let him have his own mind. Let him have his own mind. I want to see Daddy now. No, Phoenix, you're going to be 5 days. Why are you making me wait fucking 5 days? Fucking fuck.
Despite law enforcement trying to calm him down, he continued on his tirade, and Bam was subsequently arrested. In April, he was involved in yet another domestic altercation, this time with his brother Jess. Bam allegedly punched Jess in the face while he was trying to make him coffee and fled into the woods before the police arrived. Bam apparently also told Jess that he would kill him. Not only this, he also reportedly left his brother a note which read, "If you even f***ing think of calling the police on me, I'll officially f*** you up."
This all began Sunday morning. Police were called to the Pocopson Township property called Castle Bam for a domestic case. When they got there, police were told Margera had taken off through the woods behind the property. According to police documents, Bam had been kicking the door of his brother's bedroom and left a note for his brother threatening him if he talked to police. Then the documents say the brother saw Bam urinating in the kitchen sink and then Bam attacked him, injuring his face. Bam's brother says Bam told him he would put a in his head and then he left the house.
After days on the run, Bam eventually turned himself into the police.
Only NBC 10 was at the courthouse in Kennett Square as Bam Margera turned himself in after a warrant had been issued for his arrest. The former pro skateboarder, Jackass, and Viva La Bam star is now charged with charges including simple assault, terroristic threats with intent to terrorize, and harassment.
He entered a plea of not guilty and was released on a $50,000 bail on condition that he stayed away from his brother and did not leave Pennsylvania without the appropriate permission from authorities. In October, after 6 months of dating, Bam would pop the question to his girlfriend and model, Danny Marie. And you know what? The couple seem to have a happy and healthy relationship, and it seems as though Danny is extremely supportive of Bam in his sobriety. When discussing their relationship, he stated, "She's everything I've ever asked for. I couldn't ask for anything more. We're a perfect team." In mid-November, once he had surpassed the 100-day sobriety milestone, Margera sent out a video to Mark Wahlberg. In the clip he says, "What's up, Mark? It's Bam Margera here with Danny. 120 days sober. Rock and roll." And in December, Mark Wahlberg sent a video in reply, in which he congratulates Bam on 120 days of sobriety.
Bam, what's up, brother? Thanks so much for the video, bro. So happy for you in your sobriety. Now, wow, 120 days. God bless you, bro. Hope you and your family are well. And I look forward to connecting with you soon. Always been such a big fan. And yeah, look forward to seeing you, brother. I'm in Vegas, so I don't know when you get out this way, let's get together. Marcus, thank you for getting us together, bro. Appreciate it.
Unfortunately, in March of 2024, Bam was filmed having a verbal altercation with Danny. This one, however, was far less severe than others from the past, as Danny thought Bam was stepping outside to do hard, despite Bam going out for a smoke break.
You can hide your temper tantrum. You hurt yourself. That's in your temper tantrum. Yeah, and you should hug me. Yeah. There's so many everywhere.
It's clear that he is upset that he has injured himself again, and that he just wants Danny to console him, whereas Danny is upset because she just wants Bam to stay sober.
So let's spill the tea on the guy that was filming us when we were having a moment outside a hotel after missing 2 flights because of this injury and no help at the airport. He decided to film us because I did not like Bam hanging out behind a dumpster because of all the accusations that had been coming through, especially with his crutches slouching in a bush. So I went on complete fiance defense mode of protection due to the person who sold the story to TMZ. So cheers to the story that's being released tomorrow. Y'all enjoy it. We're unbreakable. and his 5 minutes of fame, no one cares. Couples fight, and he knows better than to be in the back of alleys.
Since this hiccup, it seems that their relationship is very strong. Today, Bam Margera continues to skate and create content, sharing his journey of recovery with his fans. While his road has been rocky, Bam Margera's life is a testament to the power of perseverance and the importance of seeking help in times of need. It's clear that Steve-O has been an absolute rock for Bam, and I truly hope that, as he has stated, Steve-O doesn't give up on Bam.
I love him. I love him, and even if I didn't love him, I'm never gonna give up on him because that's how it works.
It honestly seems that Steve-O is the only one that can get through to him. As he continues his journey, we can only hope that Bam finds happiness in the years to come. It's clear that Bam is on the right path. I just hope for two things. One, he doesn't build his identity and sobriety around his relationship, and two, he stays sober and builds his identity around that.
I can't even explain how many people I had nothing in common with except drinking. And I didn't realize if we take away these drinks, we're gonna all look at each other and say, what the f are we doing?
Please stay sober, Bam, for yourself and for Phoenix. We all want the best for you. Unfortunately, when making this video, well, actually when I had almost completed it, some troubling footage of Bam had been released. Firstly, a video of Bam angrily calling the police, stating that a homeless person was being a grievance to the community.
It's been 2 hours of a bum shouting on Entrada and PCH, and you guys have done nothing. I'm filming this. I'm going to send it to the news. Oh my, you did this already. God, are you again? You should be ashamed of yourselves. It's been 2 hours of us trying to sleep and dudes throwing where nobody showed up.
Secondly, a video where he called out a tattooist for ripping him off for a face tattoo.
So here I am in Belfast, Northern Ireland, and I just landed from Los Angeles and got a tattoo from Apollo from Santa Monica, who charged me $780 for something that took 12 minutes and it's crooked. So now I'm here getting ready to fix it, and he's talking all this on Reddit saying I didn't want to pay up and it took 2.5 hours. If that took 2.5 hours, then you suck and you're lying.
Thirdly, he got into a physical altercation with the aforementioned homeless person, throwing punches throughout.
Bam, come on, Bam, come on, Bam, come on, Bam.
Definitely not.
Yo, come on, guys. Yo, guys, come on, 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 Bam, let's go.
Get out of this.
Come on, Bam.
These actions resulted in speculation that Bam had relapsed, which he quickly attempted to quell through a video response.
Did I do it? No. Why? Because I'm a parole officer that I have to piss prove it. What am I drinking now? It's f***ing mint tea, you dumb mint tea. F*** you.
I hope that these were just poor choices and that Bam is still sober. And as I said in the conclusion, Bam, please listen to the guidance of your closest friends and family and do away with the enablers who don't have your best interest at heart. Steve-O and Novak both have beaten their addiction and they have the power to help you beat this. But you have to want to get better yourself. This is the one thing they cannot help you with.
You know what, Bam?
What?
And there's rich people with kids that are assholes. And I'd rather be a poor guy with a kid that's nice. How about that? Let's go back to the old days.
Well, let's go then and quit bitching about it.
It's up to you to go back to the old days.
I'm going to be an asshole forever.
Well, then,
I make money off of
I
it.
don't know what the f*** I did wrong because I thought I raised you perfect.
What do you mean? You let me skip school and shit and go skating?
To get your goals, your dream, and I thought I was doing the right thing. Apparently it wasn't.
Well, I like it, but if you don't like it, then...
You read about all the rich people, their kids do and so I'd rather have a kid that was with me and this and that than any f***ing money. So, take that.
Yeah, hey, just me again. Before you head off to the next video, which you can see here, if you wouldn't mind just subscribing first, yeah, that'd be much appreciated. Yeah, thanks for doing that. Quick intro for the next video. We have the late Joe Lindner, influencer extraordinaire from Germany.